Howdy! Welcome back once again to the famous Florida West Coast Fishing Report. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in, because look at Captain George's smile. He knows everybody's there. We got Ken Burke, Michael Haynes already. And hey, George, we got to tell everybody thank you. We broke 18,000 subscribers. We're at 18,200 and something.
Oh, yeah.
We're on fire, man.
We got a path lit for 20,000 in no time.
Oh, yeah. And did you know, I was looking, you know how many, we've had 43.7 thousand people watch the shows already. Viewers.
Yep.
Because on my report.
And that's just on YouTube.
Yeah, that's just YouTube. And that's in 14 months. So, you know, if you think about it, 14 months, 18, I think we got a good chance of breaking 28,000 at the end of the year. So, and it's all thanks to the viewers, the people who are watching the show, because we can't do it without them, you know? Hey, no, Pam's watching. You got her on the phone. I got Michael Haynes, you know? We got Ken Burke. Donald is on. Oh, Donald, he's late today. What happened? Donald, you fell asleep. He's usually one of the first ones on with Ken. Uh-oh, this is not good, you know?
Yeah, but
hey, beautiful weather. You know, we had a great time in Pine Island. I had 20-something boats going out of Cape Coral this morning for a corporate event. And it turned out to be really nice. They caught some nice red, some nice snook. And I can't come, but I tell you what, the biggest pain in the butt is the Western Marina. The hotel doesn't own the marina. The marina is separate, but it's called the Western Hotel and Marina.
Yeah.
And the dock master that runs that marina, oh man, I'm telling you, I don't mind saying it. He's terrible. He's nothing but a pain in the butt. You know, he's making it rough for everybody. You know.
Yeah.
It's for dinner tonight. Oh, damn it! You didn't invite me and George. Shame on you, girl.
I think she's asking Donald. Donald said he's making dinner.
Oh, okay. And we got John Rivers is watching. Everything's moving along. We're getting there. We're getting there. I'm happy. Hey, what about how was it? It looked like it was, from your pictures, looked like it was flat calm in the bay today.
Well, it was.
Was that an old picture?
That's from a couple of days ago that I went out, and but it was windy as could be in the morning, which it wasn't supposed to be, but it was. It was about 15, 17 mile an hour winds, and it was supposed to be 5 to 7. But that's been pretty much the norm lately. But then it laid down really good. By 10:30, 11 o'clock, we had 5 mile an hour winds.
Wow. Great. And how was it tied up here?
Slow incoming most of the days. But I'll tell you, the mackerel and trout bite were on fire. I had couple of days that the snook bite was pretty good, but on the slower tide days, the out in the open water where the water was moving a little bit better, the mackerel kicked in really good and good ones. I mean, up to about 26 inches.
Oh man, those are the nice ones. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And thanks for everybody watching. John, I don't see your comment, but I guess obviously it's there. Don Clemens, hey, I appreciate it.
Yep, Donald Clemens. A good group of people.
Yep, we appreciate everybody.
I've got to tell a few stories, George, just so you know, because, you know, we got a bunch of good captains all over the place, and I think they deserve a lot of credit. And we've been blessed that we're going to be traveling with a lot of these good captains.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, and it's public now, as of July 1st, our show, the one that Captain George and I do, Fishing Adventures Florida, will be sponsored by Skeeter Boats and Yamaha as the title sponsors. And we picked up 3 or 4 more new advertisers on top of that. So the show is really growing. And I guess people are looking and seeing how everything's growing. So I've got a Skeeter coming in the next week to take to the Keys, George and I to fish out of. And we're going to do hopefully 2 or 3 days of fishing out of the 24-foot Skeeter. Then we're going to use it in June here a couple of times. Then if anybody's going to be looking for a brand new, it's not going to be titled, 24-foot Skeeter boat, decked out with everything at a real good price, you get a hold of me and I'll put your name on the list. My 2025 will be delivered sometime the end of August, first week in September. And that's the one that George and I, the way we're going to be doing it, just so you know, we're going to go out with all these different captains like we've been doing, but it's going to be on the Skeeter boat.
Has to be.
Strictly my Skeeter boat. We're going to put that boat through everything. But last Tuesday, we had the pleasure of, we fished with Captain Ryan Rickard out of Stanahatchee. And George, I'm sorry that you couldn't have made that one because, you know, you learn a lot, George. You go to some of these places and you see things. The fishing is fabulous up there.
Right.
I would say the fishing, the areas like what Tampa Bay used to be back in the 60s, you know, like population wise, it's
Right.
less than that. And, you know, we were there. I mean, I think we saw 3 or 4 boats during the whole day, you know. So it's great. It's been super,
yeah.
you know.
And then don't forget, we went out with Wes Burns on his Skeeter.
We went out with him the next day
Had a fun
with
trip.
Wes Burns. And we did good. We caught trout. Then we went and got snook. We got jacks. We got mango snapper. And the whole thing, we had just a great time fishing with these guys.
Oh, yeah, always.
And I think when we go to the Keys, we'll be fishing with Captain Alex Silva. He lived up here. His father owns a Models Body Shop. Or Dad used to own a Models Body Shop. He's passed away, but he still owns it. But he lives in the Keys now. And he's going to be our guide down there in the Keys. And hopefully his idea is one day we want to do backcountry, one day near shore, and then one day offshore if the weather lets us. So
Right.
the day that the weather looks good, that's the offshore day. But you know what I like, and George, you fish the Keys. My favorite kind of fishing, and I hope we do, I love to lay that chum bag out the back and watch those big flag yellowtails come up and the mango snapper come up from the bottom behind the boat and you just free line. Oh,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
that's exciting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's pretty much every cast at that point.
So
Jim Pace said he went to Desperation Island 2 weeks ago on the way in to check it out. Got 2 snook on the inside area. We were searching for some tarpon at the sandbar in front of Picnic Island. No luck. Guys were jumping some the weekend before. Yeah, I've seen some guys jumping some out there also. There's been on and off some tarpon there. I think it really just depends on the tide and how good that thread fin is stacking up over there.
but and I still keep talking, and I'm guilty. I got to get my butt in gear. We've got to do something about Desperation Island. If we don't have some riprap stuff put on the outside of it,
Yeah.
facing where all the boats run, that island is going to be gone in 3 to 4 years. So I don't
Yeah,
know what we can do. I don't know if you have to have I understand the state owns those 2 islands.
Mm,
That's what somebody told me.
I would imagine, yes.
But the thing is, should somebody, how do we get a hold of, maybe somebody knows.
I'm
Who
going
do
to
we
call
need to get
Tampa.
a hold of to get them to put some rocks out there and
Yeah.
protect that shoreline so that island doesn't disappear. The trees are falling because the erosion is terrible.
Yeah. I'm going to call Tampa Bay Watch tomorrow because they would at least steer me in the right direction, I think. I'll make a note right now.
And Pam, you're right. We caught tons of trout and the redfish. And I'm telling you, George, but what we're doing in a lot of these shows, I'm really starting to kind of enjoy things again, you know, because over the years, you get so focused on being a charter captain, live bait, throwing the bait. With Ryan Rickard, we use nothing but artificials the whole day. And we caught trout, we caught redfish. And at the end, Gilligan, he's a sales manager for Finn's Braided Line. You know how you'll say, this is the last cast for leaving. He got
Yeah.
about a 36-inch redfish
Always happens.
on a little, saltwater assassin right at the very end. So what a way to end the show, you know?
My last trip that I took out, I caught a bunch of bait, and we used bait in the morning. And then the second half of the day, we went out in the bay targeting trout and mackerel. And I tell you, the little PNV and a gold spoon, between those two, I was saying to the guys, I don't know why I caught bait this morning. We caught so much fish on those two artificials, we didn't even bother with the live bait at that point, because almost every cast for about an hour was a hit. So it was a fun time, all on artificial.
If you get the trout going on the artificials, you actually the strike on an artificial from a trout is a lot harder than when you're using live bait. Live bait, they kind of chase it around and they mouth it and they swallow it. Man, when you're working that soft bait or that mirror lure, when they hit it, it's like boom.
It's a reaction strike.
That's right. So they hit it hard.
Jim Pace says, do you feel pressured areas tend to be a harder bite with artificials? No, because even pressured areas with live bait, sometimes they're finicky on the leader, the hook, so it's a high pressure area. I think sometimes with the artificial, because it is a reaction strike and they only got that split second to hit that bait that's coming past, sometimes the artificial in that type of situation might actually get you a better bite. I've caught more snook for my clients where I've hooked them up on like a white or a silver with silver glitter type of lure, like a jerk bait, fast moving, when they start turning their noses up to the live bait and seeing maybe the leader and the hook. So I think that fast moving artificial, it doesn't give them time to think about it. It's either I eat or I don't.
And I think you're right, but I'm telling you, it's just I'm enjoying myself
fun
a lot now, because since we're not on the charter, we're just enjoying it. I tend to lean more towards the artificials, but of course, it's a show and we got to. If things get really slow, sometimes we have to go to live bait.
Yeah,
I think both. Most of our shows we've done very well fishing with artificial.
I mean, I've thrown. You see me tearing the fish up with the mirror lures, the Mirrodine
series is unreal.
In the skin series, the top water Mirrodine in the skin series, huge blowups, and then the little PNV. Those two lures alone, those three lures, I should say. I've done wonders with them, and I had a girl on the boat on my last trip that was a 25-year-old girl, and within 2 or 3 casts, she had the hang of working the little PNV and started catching trout after trout.
It's not hard to fish with artificials. Yes, sometimes, especially if there's an area that people have been hitting it pretty hard with live bait and chumming, it makes it, I think, maybe a little tougher sometimes. But you think of the area that you can cover when you're fishing with artificials, because you're always casting.
You're fan casting.
And what we did up in Stanahatchee is we did slow drifts through the flats.
Right.
And we cover it. And then when you got 1 or 2 hits and you got a couple, we dropped the power poles and we sit there for a while and pull 3 or 4 trout and lift up the power poles, drift a little bit more. And it kept us pretty busy. Can't complain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That last trip I just had, throwing the artificial, basically what's nice is, like, sometimes I'll get on the rod and I'll fan cast real fast, and then as soon as I hook into one, I give it to the client, then we have a direction of where you need to cast, what direction, because normally the trout, they hang out in schools. So once you hook into one, usually there's more in that area. Then, like you're saying, once it dies out, you move a little bit, start fan casting again, find another spot, and then spot lock or anchor down. And yeah, it's a great tactic.
Making a note.
About that $10 you owe me?
Is that, I owe you 10? I thought it was 5. But it could be
inflation, inflation.
I know it goes up a little bit. So, now, the other thing, George, and I like to get input from our viewers here. What do you think? We're going to be going out with a lot of captains to film, which is good. But I think it would be good is like every 3rd or 4th show, we could take one of these that are one of the guys, one of the gals that are watching our shows all the time, and do a show with them. Just take them out with us and pick a spot and do it.
Oh yeah, I know Donald would love that, and I know Jessica's been hounding us a little bit, wanting to go out with us. So I'm sure they would love it.
I think it would be great to do something like that, especially, if it's an area that we normally don't fish and they like to fish an area, we can go and fish their area and we take the skeeter and go out there and try to do a show with them and see what happens.
Right.
And we got Carlos on,
Carlos,
Joe's on,
let's see.
and then
Joe says I could slow drift a flat with artificial paddle tails and catch trout all day long and have a ball.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Joe, we get like that too. You start getting that one after another, fish on artificials. It's fun. It really is. Really is.
Carlos says me too. Yeah, the paddle tail, it's so easy. All you do is just slow retrieve it. That's it. That little tail does all the work for you.
Yeah. Pam, you use artificials?
No, really? It's news to me. I didn't know Pam fished with artificials. And look what I got, George. I got to show everybody. I'm waiting to put the new one. You see that?
Sorry.
Look. Can everybody see that? What it says? Now, I start with 2019 and I go all the way to 2023. Every one of the the star tag.
Oh yeah,
fish deal.
yeah.
I collect one every year. And we should talk about that. We need to let everybody know that, you can start signing up and get into this thing because it's going to kick on at the end of the month. And you don't want to catch a tag redfish and not be signed up because it's going to cost you big dollars if you're not. And what is it, $35 to get in
I
it?
think so. Yeah.
And look at all the prizes,
Pam said my report is from Cedar Key. Shh, don't tell anybody.
We won't.
No, not us.
Now, Pamela, CCA, that's right, man.
Yep.
We're-
Now I gotta look into this more. I was reading about come November 5th, they're gonna have an amendment on the ballot for it's basically a constitutional right to hunt and fish in Florida. So right away my brain said, well, of course I'm gonna vote yes for that, so they can't ban fishing in Florida or hunting. And 12, I think it's a dozen states here. Hold on, I have a note here. At least a dozen states were considering bans on hunting and fishing. They didn't do it,
What?
but they were considering it.
You can't do that. That's a
So-
natural resource and it belongs to
I know.
us.
I know. Well, November 5th, they're having an amendment for you to vote on, yes or no. But I got to read more up on it because I think there's some tricky wording in some of it.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Sometimes you
there-
think, I got to vote yes for it.
Yeah.
And really you should be
Well,
saying no.
Yeah, well, there's some tricky wording in it. I've got to investigate. I just found out about it today. But one of them, basically reads like, yeah, you want to vote for that because you want your constitutional right to fish and hunt. But I think they're sneaking in, taking away the ban on the gill net. Well, of course you don't want that. You want that gill net ban to stay in place. So I got to read more about it and see which one you need to vote for, basically.
Because that's
But-
what you got to be careful. Some of these politicians will sneak stuff
They're
in
Yeah.
because they know, they're going to vote. But then let's put this, get rid of the
In the
ban the
back
nets
page.
and slide
Yeah.
it in,
Yeah, so be careful, but it's something you need to be looking up now before November 5th comes along so we know how to vote. But we definitely maybe have to watch it, but definitely vote on something to make sure that we don't lose our constitutional right to fish and
Well,
hunt.
let's look into it really good, George. We
Yeah.
got Greg now. He's watching us, and by the way, we got to let everybody know that Family Boating Center now opened up their second location in St. Petersburg. So for you people in St. Pete, you don't have to come across the bridge anymore to look at all your favorite boats, the Tidewater, the Pathfinders, and all of that. They have them in St. Pete also.
Now, where is this at?
I don't have the address on me, but I see that he's watching. Yeah, they opened it
Okay.
up. It's a location I think they used to have, and it looks really nice. Beth has been posting a lot of pictures about the location, and it really looks really, really good. So, kudos to Family Boating Centers because they deserve it. And
I
we
wonder-
hope they do very good down there.
Now, one of the companies moved out of it, a boat company, they moved down the street, and then there's basically an empty, what used to be a boat place, a nice lot, which is right across from like Bay Pines Memorial Park. So I wonder if they grabbed that place.
I
I'll have
don't
to look
know.
it up. I'll have to look it up.
Let's see. I see if I can get them to.
They're not showing up on my post, so I can't see what she
Thanks,
wrote.
See if we,
But yeah, that's not far from me at all, actually.
my fingers are so big for these keyboards, man.
Maybe the Keybirds are just small for you.
Yeah. Let's see if I. If
Donald says he's planning on going out on the 25th. It's $40 plus the membership. It's so worth. Excuse me.
Listen, you can spend $40 on nothing, and this is an
Oh, yeah.
investment, and not only in our future because they use that money wisely, but it's a chance to win a lot of good prizes. You know. So yes, join the CCA. If you're not a member, you should join it, and then join the Star Tournament, because I mean, there's everything in there. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Melody in Colombia, they're watching us. Thank you.
So this is, just so you know, when you look it up, it's
Uh-oh.
amendment. It's amendment.
You
Amendment
got
number.
static.
Oh. Let's see. How about now?
No, you got a lot of static. It just started. I don't
Let's see
know
if
what.
something came loose.
Yeah, it feels like it. Sounds like it. There you go. How's
How about
that?
now?
No, it's real.
I'm gonna clock out. I'm gonna
Like
come back.
fuzzy. It's like real fuzzy.
I'm gonna clock out and I'll come
Jump
back.
back in. Okay. All right. I can't wait till my grandson comes in July and take him fishing. He is signed up for Star. Good, Donald. Yeah, you know, I hope somebody in this market this year wins a few prizes. It's been a while since somebody in this immediate
Hello.
area has won anything. Try it, George.
Any better?
Yeah. I don't know what it was.
Huh.
All of a sudden, it went like, real static.
All right. So what I was trying to say was, so you can look it up. It's amendment number 2 is what you need to look up and kind of really get into the meat of it to find out that they're not being sneaky. Because when you first look at it, of course you're saying, oh, I better vote yes for that first one because I don't want anybody to take away my rights to hunt or fish. But then the second one, the reason why they're saying no is because there's a possibility of them. Let's see right here. Ill-advised amendment could be used to override protections for fish stocks, such as effectively nullifying the prohibition of gill nets. So you got to watch if they're being sneaky.
Yeah. See, because they could do it at the last minute. They can throw that in there that says,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
we can get rid of the nets.
Right. And that destroyed our bay. That really saved our bay. So, but yeah, everybody keep an eye on that. It comes November 5th. That's when that's going to be on there. So let's keep an eye on that. We'll keep you posted too, because we're going to look into it.
All right, and let's get some of these fishing reports. I was with Scotty Rowe this morning because he was one of my captains that was going out of
Oh, okay.
Cape Coral. Yeah,
You want to do his then?
Yeah, let's get Scotty Rowe.
Hey everybody, this is Captain Scotty Rowe from Charlotte Harbor. I know there wasn't a show last week, but I gave a report a couple weeks ago, and I said the bite was on fire. Well, it's got better. The water even got a little bit warmer. Been having some really good incoming tides in the morning where they're moving 1.5 foot, 1.75 foot. Been able to get up in a lot of those mangroves. Trout bite and on some of the grass flats in Charlotte Harbor in that 2 to 4 foot range. Beautiful fish. They're on those flats right now spawning, and they're all bunched up, so we're having a lot of fun with those. The big giant mangrove snapper have come in the bay. Excuse me, a little fly. Catching those around some of the docks, and I've even caught some really big ones on the flats. My biggest one last week was about 15 inches, and for inside Charlotte Harbor in shallow water, that's a big one. Snook bite, still great. Caught us a few really nice ones last week. Redfish is definitely seeing a lot more of those. I caught several this week. I had one trip, I think it was last Wednesday. We literally lost count of the fish we were catching, and I had 3 clients on the boat, and they all got the inshore slam. Big Jack Crevalles roaming around, plenty of those, a lot in that 3-4 pound range, but they're still fun, screaming a little drag. I did catch one that was about 13 pounds, so that was kind of cool. And I caught that one when I was trout fishing, and I didn't know what we had because it took so much line out. I actually went and chased it down with a boat, so that was pretty wild. People were just smiling ear to ear when they saw that big old fish. Big tarpon are in Boca Grande right now, so if you're interested in that, now is the time to book your trip for the next couple months, to go down and do that. Other than that, guys, the fishing's great. Everything's biting out there. Even had some of my buddies were out shark fishing, catching sharks, a few cobia. It's that time of year where things are just hot. So give me a call if you're all interested in coming down. I have some days available towards the end of May. Other than that, tight lines, everybody. We'll talk at you next week.
Thank you, Scotty.
Nice report. Nice
Yeah,
report.
he was one of the captains this morning, and we were out fishing around Pine Island, coast of Boca Grande Pass Saturday, and you could see all the boats out there in the pass.
Oh yeah.
Like a herd of cattle.
Yeah. I hate
One
it.
little area moving up
Oh, yeah.
and down, up and down.
I hate it.
But we did pretty good. We caught snook and we caught trout. Couldn't find a redfish though.
Huh.
We did really good with. But again, the tide wasn't moving that good
Right.
in the backwaters. It was kind of a slow move.
So Jessica just signed on. What's up, Jessica?
Hey, Jessica.
All right, you're late.
You're
30
late.
lashes.
Shame
30
on you.
lashes.
That's right.
Uh,
But yeah, Jessica's one that we got to go out with one day.
yeah, we were
Like
just.
I said, in June, I'll be able to use that Skeeter for a couple of trips, and then after that, they're going to get rid of it. But when I get the new one,
yeah.
and George, we got some new sponsors coming on board too. We got SOS Shades. We met them at the boat show.
Right.
They make a different type of shade. You know, everybody think the shade that goes from the T-top to the back of the boat. They make one, and it comes with every attachment as long as you got a T-top. Whether you have a fiberglass or a regular cloth top, all the connections, and it's a shade that goes on the side of the boat. So when you're in like a 3-rooker bar or whatever, and you got your boat beached or, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. If the sun's coming from this side, then you can put the shade on that side of the boat. So it's a side shade rather than a top shade, which kind of is nice because I know a lot of times then the sun starts at about 2 o'clock. Sun starts coming at an angle and hitting the side of the boat. So and it comes with suction cups and these clamps. So you suction it on the side of the hull. You can suction on top of your hard top or clamp it on the bar on your cloth top, T-top. And I think it's pretty good. Then we got the guys that, for all you Yamaha owners, it's Tampa Tuning, and they can take your Yamaha motor and say get a 200 horse and make it a 260 just by tuning it, tuning the CPU. They can get it like a 250, make it a 300, and they can actually get a 300, make it a little over almost a 350, 360 horsepower. Which what they're telling me is because they're raising the horsepower by tuning it through the CPU, I mean, not physically doing anything other to the motor, you can average 17 to 20% better gas mileage because now you can run your motor at a lower RPM because your horsepower is up, which makes sense if you think about it.
Right.
And let's say right now you got a 200 in the back of your boat and you're having to push it at 4,200 to get 30 miles an hour out of it. Well, if you can get 30 miles an hour out of it at 3,800 to 3,700, it makes sense. You're burning less fuel because you got more horsepower. So it's going to be pretty interesting, and they're coming on board. I'm looking forward to that. And we got Extreme Foam Decking. They make all it's like the sea deck material, but theirs is American made, and it uses 3M adhesive.
Yeah, that's the best.
As I understand, sea deck uses a Chinese adhesive. they use a 3M, which is what all the car makers use to stick
Right.
all the lettering and everything. So my Skeeter, I'm putting the decking on it to try it out and see how well it holds up. I see Jessica says, I just won third in a big tournament out of 166 boats and 300 people. Way to go, girl. Was it a redfish tournament, a trout tournament? What kind of tournament was it?
I think it was the big three.
Oh, it was it a snook, redfish, and trout?
I think so. Well, congratulations. Nothing wrong with that out of that many people.
All right. Did I see it? It looked like, oops. All right. Yeah. Well, that's congratulations. Yep. Well, I tell you, we got some ladies here that watch our show that are really super anglers, man.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
They will give any guy out there a fight for the money and probably beat them. That's the scary part, you know?
Yeah, and, it's really, whether it's a guy or girl, it don't matter. I mean, everybody can learn how to fish to an expert level. It's just practice,
It's practice. That's right.
practice and learning knowledge.
Okay, Jessica
She said,
redfish weight 7.28, all artificial. I could use bait if it was red, trout, and slam and jack, kids division. You could use bait. It was red, trout, and slam.
okay, so it was,
And I guess you could use bait, but she didn't. She used,
all right.
there you go.
You can definitely, I mean, one of my favorite lures for redfish is a gold spoon. I mean, you can cover a lot of ground with that, and I've caught tons of redfish on a spoon.
Wow. There you go. Way to go. Now we better get another fishing
Yeah.
report in it. Let's do Michael Dawson.
Good job, Pamela.
Good job.
Hey guys, Captain Michael Dawson here after another beautiful day on the water. Fishing is getting absolutely phenomenal out there. These warm weathers and these nice warm days here, fishing has been really, really good. Trout on every corner of every beach out there, whether it be Three Rooker, Honeymoon, Ankle, the Sandbar. Get out there on the edge of the sand, you'll see these fish out there spawning out there, getting big groups of 200, 300, 400 fish even. All 18 to 24 inches, real nice fish. Highly recommend letting these fish go. Every one of them is full of eggs right now. So if you want to see more of these trout in the future, I'd say let them go, let them grow, and let these fish be able to go breed and do their thing. Same areas, we see some big snooks starting to show up on the beach. It's probably going to get better as we get through this week here. The water temperature is low 80s, 82, 83 right now. So it's perfect time for these snooks to start getting out the beach and start spawning. Tarpon will be showing up any day now. Have already caught a couple fish so far, but it's not really the big groups of them. But they'll be here any day. Points to the beaches again. Get on the outside of these beaches and just sit out there on the troughs and wait for these fish to come down to you. Captain Michael Dawson, Patriotic Guide Service.
There you go. Thank you, Michael. Good job.
Good job. Good job as usual.
You know, and the water's so clean out of Tarpon and up there in that area. How was it in the bay this week since I wasn't around?
Cleaner than the last time you were out in the bay, cleaner than that. And it depends on what area. If it was protected out of the wind, it was looking really, really good. And then out in the middle of the bay where I was at, you could see bottom but fuzzy.
Yeah.
Put it to you
Okay.
that
When
way.
I was out in the middle of the bay, it wasn't like the week before. You could see the darkness of the rocks and stuff like that in 6 feet, 7 feet of water, but it wasn't the week before. I could go and you can actually just see all the way down.
Yeah, you can see the fish. Yeah.
The water's always really clean up,
Yeah,
especially
it is.
Hudson Bayport, man.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, last time I was up that way, not Bayport, but I was out of Newport Richey with Lacucci area. I was up there with my boat, and my goodness, I felt like I was going to bottom out all the time. The water's so clear.
It scares you.
Yeah. There's Luke. Luke just signed on. He's our Y Tangle. That's the hook tunnel for your sabiki. You got to check that out.
Yeah.
Go online, just Google hook tunnel. He's on Amazon, selling them on Amazon and Walmart, but Google hook tunnel. It'll take you to his website and you'll see what it's all about. It's great storage mechanism and also fishing mechanism for your sabiki rigs.
But I'll tell you, it's a money saver for the guy who can't throw a net or has a
Sure.
bad back, or some people just
Or
will never learn to throw it. Some people just can't do it physically.
or how about this? If it's really windy out,
Right.
throwing a net's a pain in the butt. You can whip out that. If you're just like right now, a lot of the guys cut bait for snook, cut bait for
You can get those
redfish,
fins.
and the big thread fins are in right now. So you could put 36 thread fins in a live well real quick with a sabiki. I mean, without a doubt, and you don't have to get wet.
I don't know if he's going to be at this boat show in June, but I hope so.
But if not, like I said, you get a chance, go online and Google Hook Tunnel by Y-Tangle, and it'll come up. Watch his website. It's just a really, really cool invention, and it's makes it convenient to store, a sabiki real quick. When you're done fishing, you cut the line, take the little bungees off your pole, and you can store it. Use the bungees to actually hold the weight, and the other end where the swivel is in place, and you can put it in a hatch, put it in a rod holder, whatever you want to do, but it's pretty easy. Donald, that's funny. Donald says, I used to be good at catching fish. Now I'm just good at fishing. Oh, Donald, I've seen some of your catches. You still catch, buddy. I didn't think you were going to be there, but hey, you'll be there in spirit, I'm sure. And we'll be talking about your hook tunnel when we do our seminar. So don't worry, you'll be there.
Yeah, maybe we'll see what we can do. We'll talk to you before the boat show. Maybe we can help them out some way at the boat show.
Right.
We'll see what we can do.
Even if you've got some literature or cards that we could put on our table.
We'll be glad to pass it out. We'll be showing people how to use your product. You don't have to worry about that. So yeah, we'll give them a hand. All right, let's see, George. Let's get to how about Michael Haynes up there in Crystal River?
Sure.
Good evening, everyone. Captain Mike Haynes, Fishbones Charters out of Crystal River, Florida, and Paddletail Waterfront Lodge. I want to say we had an exciting week this week. Had a few clients that were kind of fun this week. Jessica and Laura. Jessica's one of our members in the Crystal River group, as well as the subscriber to the show. And we had a lot of fun. Reds really wasn't kicking off over us that day. We found a big school of them, found several of them, but they just would not cooperate. But we ended up going out and getting some grouper, playing with them for a little while. Also some trout out on the flats. Trout we found in at least 6 to 10 foot of water, way out on the flats, just popping some jigs around. Caught a couple of shark as well with some live bait. But trout are definitely out pretty much of the flats. Haven't found too many that are inshore unless you've got a nice, really deep hole. But they're about 6 to 10 foot out. So you're going maybe a mile or two out in order to get that deep water. Schools of reds are definitely showing up. Like I said, when Jessica and Laura were out, we found a big school of reds, but just couldn't get them to cooperate. There were several other schools of reds showing up later in the week, and they did finally cooperate with Billy and Willie. That's who I had on the boat, and we just had a blast. We laughed the whole day. And Willie caught his biggest personal red, so that was really fun. Basically pitching pins live and cut underneath mangroves and out on the flats when you did find those big groups of reds. Snook are still obviously out there, plenty on the points. As soon as the tides start coming in, you're going to find snook just hanging on at just about every point, casting very, very far to get to them, whether it's top water or live bait. You're going to have to cast far until that tide gets really up and they're underneath those mangroves, that way you can flip underneath the trees to get them. Have not seen tarpon just yet. Still anticipating them to show up. It's still a little early, but the turtles are definitely around, so tarpon shouldn't be far behind. I do know cobia have been caught out on the wrecks and on the rocks out there as well. Spoil Banks, north of the Spoil Banks near Yankeetown, the black drum is pretty much on fire. So if you're into getting some black drum, using partial crabs, some dead bait, some herring, put it down there on the bottom, and pretty much the drum are just about everywhere. It seems to be a real good bite up north. So scallop season's coming up soon, so get ready for that. I've seen a lot of scallops already when I'm cruising along the flats, just kind of getting into my spots, seeing a lot of scallops flicker up. So we're hoping this year is the year finally get back to good scalloping. So we'll see you next week. Captain Mike Haynes, Fishbones Charters out of Crystal River, Florida. Good night.
Thank you, Mike.
All right,
And
Mike,
you know,
nice report. Nice report.
George, you touched on something. That's something we ought to do in June. Let's do a black drum show here.
Go hit the
Hollow
bridge, man.
Franklin and Gandy, huh?
Yep, go hit the bridge.
Yeah, let's go hit the bridge. We'll get some blue crabs. And it's been a long time since I hooked some of those animals.
Now, Luke said the striped bass run has started, and he will send pictures in if he catches a nice one. So yeah, we definitely will look forward
Send
to
us some
that.
pictures. We want to see them.
And then Pamela's asking where this is at because it's on our bucket list. I forget what state he's in. We'll have to get
Send us some information, Luke.
Yeah,
We got people that are interested in wanting to go fish it.
I tell you, years ago, I kind of got away from it, but years ago, I used to do that in the July, August, especially when I used to launch out of Gandy, for a lot of years. And that was just so simple. I'd have some blue crabs in a bucket and ice. And, sometime during the day, we'd stop at the bridge. I'd have the grouper tackle.
And just do it.
We put it out. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, people.
I think we'll do that. We'll do that in June after we get back from these last two trips. Let's do that in June. Let's go out there and get on some black drum. Let's have some fun. And you know what's fun? Sometimes using that crab, catching the drum, that's when you get the real big bull reds too.
Yep.
They're sitting on the bottom of. Excuse me. They're sitting on the bottom of that bridge.
Oh yeah, I remember one year.
It says upstate New York.
Okay, that's what I
Hey,
thought.
Luke, do you have a skeeter boat up there to fish? If you have a skeeter boat, we'll come up there and fish with you.
But yeah, I remember one year. That's where Lee Blick, he won a slam tournament, and that's where he got his huge redfish from, was at the bridge. So you catch a huge red like that gives you so many inches. I mean, they're gigantic.
And that's happened before. A lot of these guys in some of these tournaments, because black drum is one of the species,
Right.
You'll be down there trying to get that one big, and you get that breather redfish. And I mean, I'm talking 40 something inches.
Oh yeah. Yep. That's just definitely a line puller, that's for sure.
So I'm going to find out. We're going to do. That's a good show for. I made a note of that. That's one of our shows that we're going to do in.
Yeah, those are, and it's a lockdown drag type of thing too. I mean, you've got that drag locked down. You got to get them away from the pylons, and I'll tell you, sometimes when you hook into one, like we caught like a 60-pounder, and then the very next one we hooked into, we couldn't turn it, so it scratches your head. How big was that one?
Yeah, because they are. I mean, they're just should be underneath the bridges right now because they're finished their spawn. They're down there now.
Sometimes on a quiet day, you can hear them. You can hear that sound.
Yep.
Dum, dum. Yep.
All right.
Jessica says she won 3rd place in ladies division for CCA last year. Well, good for you. Congratulations. Yeah, you're definitely doing good, and you definitely I tell you, improved your fishing techniques and everything, because we see how much you've been winning lately.
There you go. All right, let's get Tony Franklin's fishing report.
All right.
Hi, Captain Tony Franklin back again with this week's fishing report. First, we're going to start out with what's been really working well again this week. The trout fishing has really picked up. The amount of trout we're catching sand trout, we're catching spotted sea trout, we're catching quite a few fish that are in the slot limit. So the fishing for trout has really picked up as this weather's warmed up. Now, the conditions and the times that we're catching these trout on the grass flats, we're in about 4 or 5 feet of water. The thicker the grass, the better. More of a matted type grass with not so much on the sand. You want to be on the grass. And about 4 or 5 feet of water, like I was saying, trout bite has just been phenomenal this week. Now, the best bite has been around incoming tide when the water movement has started. During the slacker tides or slack tide, the trout have not been there as much. So that's been the key this week, is to find moving water. Mostly the incoming tide is working real well. Also, there's mackerel in the bay around some of the sandy shoal areas, some pretty large sized mackerel. We're still catching Jack Crevalle for action. There's ladyfish mixed in. Once again, bonnethead sharks this week. Also catching a few black tips. So that's been really good. There's just been a lot of different types of action. The snook bite has not been as good as it was last week, but we're catching quite a few, catching up closer to residential docks, areas with rocks and structure. Just not as many as last week. It slowed down a little bit. Last week was really good on the snook bite. There's been a few redfish around, depending on the areas you're looking for. It's been better on the higher tide around oyster beds, and up in the higher tides they'll be poked up into, tucked right under the mangroves in a lot of areas where you would see snook. The redfish are in the same area on a higher tide, drawn tight to the mangroves. So pretty much there's all types of action. The key is to get out there, catch some fish, have fun on the water. I'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
And hide them. Oh, here we go.
We're back. We're back.
Back. We're talking about how to do all these things that I can't do sometimes on my phone that you can do on your computer.
Halta, maybe you could check out that last little comment there and see if you can't hide that one. But yeah, so fishing's heating up. I've seen a lot of mackerel have moved in the
That's
bay.
good. That's good because I got people that love the mackerel fishing, Billy,
Some
and they
blue-
love it. I'm ready for some mackerel.
Oh
Make
yeah,
some
some
smoked mackerel.
big bluefish lately, and of course tarpon are following the thread fins, and the thread fins are everywhere right now. The thread fins are on the flats and in the deep water.
Cool. Well, I'm ready. I hope the mackerel bites on tomorrow and the weather's nice because I got my smoker and I need to crank that baby up and get a whole
Yeah.
bunch of mackerel spread.
Well, it's been good. The last 2 times that I tried for mackerel, just awesome. We left them biting every time. Pam says she's up for tarpon on the kayak. Yeah, you want to go for the sleigh ride, don't you?
Yeah. Well,
Now we got
Pam,
quite a few
well,
reports, right?
maybe next month, if you're around, one of the days we're going to go for black drum. We'll take you to do some black drum fishing.
Now we only got 10 minutes. And I think
So well, let's get Bucky in,
yeah, we got some reports still.
and then we got yours, for God's sakes.
Good afternoon, Sunday afternoon. It's Captain Bucky Goldman. So it's we didn't do a report last week, so I sent in a bunch of photos from the last few trips I had. I had Sergio's event downtown. I also did one for Mike Anderson. Mike Anderson's event, it was so windy. We were I stuck around, I was out of Hula Bay and I stuck around Whedon, and there was just so much snot grass on the flats. It was clogging my live wells. I mean, it was a slam event, so we got our 4 trout and 4 reds and 4 snook and a few other things, but it just wasn't really, it was just really hard to fish. Waters were low and it was tricky, but I mean, I didn't want to run around and go get beat up. It's like yesterday, it was so windy. Had an event for Suzuki, Travis Yakel, and Mastery Engines, and we launched from near the Coast Guard station, and I mean, I got the crap knocked out of me getting down there. I don't really know how to run that backside, but it was so choppy, got soaked on the way there, and then the wind was coming straight from Cockroach, and I'm like, man, we might as well just go charge right into Cockroach. And it was nice down there. I mean, you got a ton of grass. We caught some really nice trout up to like 22 inches. That's where we started, and then we ended up going in, getting a bunch of snook and caught a few little reds, but nothing, I don't know my area down there, so I was just there was a lot of boats out. I mean, so I was just picking some areas. So there's been some little tarpon showing up north, and I'm pretty sure I saw a few rolling around the bridges. They just caught it out of the corner of my eye. The bait has been like hit or miss, and one day you're whacking it on the bridges, next day it's just disappeared. You can't find it. It's got to start showing up on the flats, but I mean, I don't want to go and throw on weeding and get all that snot grass. It's miserable when you're catching bait. Makes everybody angry, especially if you got 5 or 6 guides around all struggling to catch snot grass. But yeah, it's been good. The redfish are starting to show up. You just got to be able to wait it out and get some of that higher water. Same thing with the snook. So it's been getting good. And, I've been kind of trying to catch some tarpon in some of the canals when the tide is low, waiting for it to come in. And once we run out, once we spend some time doing that, then I've been running out and trying to get up on the flats and stuff. So you got to pick and choose what you're doing and hope for the best. It's not like it was 5-10 years ago. So it's a lot of work some days, and you just got to keep positive and keep going. So but yeah, I'm looking forward to get out. I got a couple trips this week and in the following week, so we'll be rocking and rolling. I'm gonna go try to check out some places, see if the baits are like on Culbreth or maybe 4th Street or maybe even by Hula Bay. Hopefully it's not covered with snodgrass, and So, anyways, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. There's been some big schools at Jackson. There's lots of threadfin starting to show up in the upper bays. I haven't really gotten any mackerel off of them. I see them getting disturbed, but pretty soon it'll be full swing. There'll be mackerel all over the place, especially right south of Gandy and stuff like that. So that'll be fun, and the snapper fishing will start picking up too. And I'm going to try to start doing that for people who want to keep fish, because for me, I still don't keep snook trout or redfish, and thank God snook's closed, so the people don't have the option. But all right, Captain Bucky Goldman, Bag and Fishing Charters, Tampa, Florida, FishingGuide.com.
All right, and George, thank you, Bucky. We need to let everybody know, because I've got only about 35 spots left.
Right.
If you have a kid, please join us June 15th at Picnic Island Park. We're going to have rod and reel with line, tackle tray with tackle.
Right.
We're going to have a whole bunch of captains. Any captains that have that would like to help us out, we could use your help to educate these kids on June 15th at Picnic Island Park. But if you want to bring your kids, it's all free. We will give the first 110 kids a nice Okuma rod and reel, the line, some hooks, everything that they're going to need. And we're going to teach them how to fish, then take them on the beach. The mayor's going to be there, the Tampa Police Department, fire department, the dive team, everybody. All you got to do is email me and tell me who the parent or the guardian that's going to be there, a phone number, how many kids, and the kids' T-shirt sizes, because we're working on trying to give every kid a really nice T-shirt. And I'll, just pass the word. You can pick up Coastal Angler or Onshore Offshore magazine, and you'll see the ad on there. We have an ad talking about it. And if not, just you can go to George's website or my website and contact us through there. All I need is you just got to email me so I can keep track of how many are going to be there, because we're also going to feed you. We're going to feed the kids and the parents.
So you need to know both, how many parents are going and how many kids are going. Pamela said that she'll be there for the kids and chat yakking. And then Captain Chris Yates said he needs to sign up his 6-year-old and that he can help wherever you need.
I'm going to put it right now, June. You keep talking. I'm going to put it right now.
Yeah, so he's going to put up the information, the date, and his email address, so you can email him. Pamela says that she fished with him, and she face planted on his old boat. Funny story. Ask him about it.
Who's this?
Pam said she did a face plant. I guess they must have stuffed a wave, or who knows, but we'll have to find out how that happened. Yeah, everything's heating up in the bay right now. and there's a little bit of everything going on. Bait's in the deep water, and it's also on some flats. But how's the fishing north of Courtney? It's been pretty good up there. I don't go up there too much, but the bite's been pretty decent as long as you got water to work with. That's the main thing, is having water to work with. So check your tides if you're gonna go up there. And I guess Jessica's coming down this way to fish with what's his face? I can't think of his name now. Slot machine, Dean. And so that's cool. You gotta let us know how that goes. He's a great fisherman, good guy over there. But there we go. June 15th, picnic 9 a.m. is the start, so you want to get there a little bit before that. And then when you want to confirm or see if the slot's available, email Sergio. Right
And
there
right
is
now
his
we
email.
got about 38
Openings.
open slots left out of 110.
Right,
So
right.
you know, if you got a grandson or a daughter, whatever, 6 to 14 years old,
Right.
and all we want to do is get them hooked on fishing and away from other things that are not good for them.
And that's coming up pretty fast. So if you want to sign up, you better kind of hop on the ball on that one pretty quickly.
Because sometimes parents just wait, and then when they text you, oh gee, I thought, well, you know,
35 spots is not a lot. That
not a
goes
lot.
quick.
We started with 110,
Yeah.
a week ago.
And a lot of families, there's more than one kid, so they might have 2 or 3 kids. So 35 spots can get wiped out pretty fast.
And it's all free, and then we're gonna feed you, and the kids will get to meet the mayor, and sometimes they get some excited.
And then the
police
cops,
department is
yeah.
there. Remember, they brought their dive team last year, and they were in the parking lot showing the kids all the equipment. And
And then
go ahead.
the fire boats, remember those?
Yeah.
And then if we get lucky again, we had a helicopter fly over. That was pretty something else.
Yeah, the police copter came over.
And then this was just coincidence. A huge freighter came in, and the kids got to see a gigantic boat come in, and that was fun for them too.
CCA will be there. FWC will be there. I mean, it's all to get the kids hooked on fishing.
And the parents. And the parents.
And last year, I tell you, I was amazed how many emails I got from mothers saying
Yes.
that their daughters really got into fishing, and they were.
Yep.
I had one lady said, I couldn't believe it. My daughter was asking me, can we go out? Can we go out every Saturday? She emailed me like 3 or 4 weeks later after this thing, telling me that every weekend her daughter wanted her to go out and do some fishing. And that's why we try to give them a rod and reel and everything, because some families can't afford a rod and reel right now. And we don't care. If we can do it, you're just like me. We're all donating our time. Nobody makes a penny. Everything's donated. The city of Tampa, through the Rice Foundation, they gave us a grant. Stadium Toyota, Cracker Boy, a bunch of my
D.A. Mahoney's.
D.A. Mahoney. I mean, all of these people donated product or money. And then I had one of my good accounts, one of my good clients. He donated $1,000. I had another client donate $200. So
Saltwater.
thank God we're covered.
Saltwater Assassin.
Saltwater Assassin. Yep. I mean, we're covered. We cannot complain. And, Pamela's going to bring the puppy with her. That's good. The kids will love that.
Right.
Hey guys, it's Pam and I'm coming to you again from Tampa Fishing Outfitters. I want to give you an idea of what happened over the weekend. Big redfish. Look at the video that you're going to see in a couple minutes, and I must have got 4 or 5 overslot reds. They were just gorgeous. And you'll see the last screenshot, I did find a legal fish, but unfortunately I didn't find the 2, but I had a blast. They're eating artificials. Don't worry about the bait unless you absolutely feel you have to. I caught most of mine on the dart spin and DOA shrimp.
All right. So, and George, we got to get your fishing report.
Yeah, we got to play that.
Let's get George Hastek's fishing report.
Hey guys, this is Captain George Hastek of Fish Hunter Fishing Charters coming to you from St. Petersburg. Well, a little bit of everything is going on right now. The sheep's head have thinned out, which is to be expected because it's warming up. I mean, there's still some around, but the mackerel bite has increased. Basically, get yourself out there by the range markers, channel markers, out in the middle of the bay, the reefs, and start spraying out some chum. If you want, put a chum block out off the side of your boat, hang it off a cleat. That'll bring bait behind your boat, the little pieces too. Really gets things active. That'll pull the mackerel in. Some of the areas that aren't too deep, let's say about 7-8 feet, have good shell bottom. You got some areas that have coral, grass mix. That's holding mackerel, bluefish, trout. So there's a good mix there. You could throw a gold spoon, silver spoon. You can also throw a 1/4 ounce jig head by Saltwater Assassin with a little P&V. I like the opening night with the chartreuse tail on the end of it. Live baits working, throwing those white baits, scalloped sardines, whatever you like to call them, greenbacks, greenies. Those are working too. A lot of times you can put 2 of those out in the rod holder and forget about them. Fish with the lures while those 2 are working the back of the boat for you. Every once in a while, throw some live chum out there where you cut chunks, cut pieces. That'll also draw in mackerel. On the inshore scene, snook and redfish, depending on where you're fishing. Some areas are holding more redfish than others. Some areas are only holding a few. You might get 2 or 3, and that's it. Some days you might get 5, 6. Other days might be not any around. Just depends on where you're fishing. Other areas, you're catching predominantly more reds than snook. It just really depends on the areas you're going to. North seems to be holding more reds. South seems to be holding more snook. Both of those are taking live bait, but pinfish and cut pinfish for the redfish are working really, really well. And of course, live scaled sardines is predominantly what the snook want. Moving water is always the key. And if your tides are not moving that good with the kind of winds we've been having, try to find yourself a point where the wind is pushing the water around that point, and it makes what I call a false current. And a lot of times that wind pushing the water will move bait with the water that's moving from the wind, and that will help you get a bite on the snook. But moving water, snook and trout are definitely more prone to bite when the water's moving. And then when that current goes slack, a lot of times that bite can drop right off. That bite can drop right off, including the trout. They really do. They're almost as bad as the snook when that water's not moving. The redfish are more apt to bite even on a slack tide, especially if you're using cut bait and you're chumming. But everything's going on. So there's been a lot of good schools at Jack Crevalle. Look for them busting the water. Watch, when you throw your chum out, you might see them boiling, and that's as soon as you see that type of boil, you'll get used to knowing what a snook hit is, what a redfish boil is compared to what a jack boil and a ladyfish boil. You'll learn it after a while. So when you see that jack boil, throw real quick, whether it's a lure. I always like to have a 1/4 ounce jig head rigged with a little P&V on it, and a spoon is a good one to have. That way, if you see, sometimes your chum goes real far away from the boat. If you see an explosion, those 2 lures can cast a mile, so you can still reach where the action's at. All right, this has been Captain George Hastic. Have a good day.
All right, George.
All right.
Great way to end the show today. And,
Yep.
Let's hope that we get a lot of emails from parents out there that want to bring their kids for June 15th. So all of you that are watching and going to be able to see the show later on during the week, if you don't have kids, or you might have grandkids, or you have, people that have kids, pass the information on, because that's what we're doing this for, is for kids.
Yep. Yep. Get them off the Xboxes and the PlayStations.
All right. And tomorrow you're going to try to see about Desperation Island. See if
I'm
you can
going
get
to
some
call
information that we can get the ball rolling.
I'm going to call Tampa Bay Watch, because even if they can't do something, they should be able to steer me in the right direction.
Amen. There you go. All right,
All right.
George.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Oh, and let's tell everybody that we're going to try to do the show next week. You're going to be here, but
Right.
Holt and I are going to be in Louisiana Monday night. So
it's
we're going to try to do the show Monday night.
right.
Let's see what happens.
It's
It
just-
all depends how bad the internet connection
Yeah,
is that night
yeah.
over there.
you
Remember,
got
we're
this-
in Louisiana in the middle of the booties,
All
but we're good.
But-
Well, Hota's going to try to get it all set up. Okay.
right.
All right. Take care. Have a good day, guys.
Have a good night.
Goodbye.